what? Let's get on this topic because he actually almost had a love interest with one.
Let's talk about that. No,
wait. He loved the Sasquatch.
Yes, I swear.
Whoa. Hey, 911.
Hold on.
Yeah, so this is what happened, right? It's nice. He looked just like our woman here.
I don't know, just like ours.
Like a hairy body,
So he said she came on to him.
So she initiated.
Initiated it, yeah. And this
I don't think you can turn that down, guys. I don't know if you can turn that down, man.
Hey guys, it's Han Meditations. I am so excited to bring you this podcast. It's hilarious and we had a good time. Now, this podcast was filmed months ago when we first set up our podcast studio, so the quality might be different from the last podcast and we have gotten continuously better. So, the volume might vary from time to time, but I still hope you enjoy this podcast and I'm excited and happy to bring it to you. Thank you guys for listening and thank you for watching. The best is yet to come.
Welcome to the Han Podcast, the Here and Now podcast. Today we have a special guest with us. Of course, we have our co-host Kelly.
Hello.
And today we have an artist with us today, 5D Fine Arts.
Greetings.
Known for his 5D enlightenment art, which really gets your consciousness thinking, which really grows your mind. He worked in an art curating museum for a little bit and he learned his art skills. And you guys will see his art all around. If you're familiar with my meditation videos, you'll see he is the one that painted the meditation oil painting of me in the background.
Absolutely.
It's a phenomenal piece of artwork. We will link his contact information, his Instagram and his contact information below if you guys want a nice piece of positive, fine art that you guys can have for a pretty good price as well.
Only on Instagram. That's my basically only platform. For 5D Fine Arts, you'll find me there. I'm easy to find.
Exactly. So
let's go.
5D, you want to just tell us maybe about what kind of spiritual stuff you're into? I mean, I know, but a lot of people, they may not know. Just kind of like an overview of everything.
Or when and how you got started.
Yeah, just, just a little bit about yourself.
That's a big spoonful right there. So I'm into the metaphysics, spiritual teachings, whether that's through our different religions, ancient texts. I love to read up on that. And it all began with my awakening when I was about 20 years old. And it wasn't easy and it was very abrupt and I wouldn't wish it on anybody how it happened, but it was a really necessary experience for me.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times, guys, your awakening, it's going to be different for everybody.
Oh, yes.
And we all go through multiple awakenings.
Oh, yes.
Just throughout time. I mean, I don't really know anyone that just goes through one. And if you just went through your first one, there's going to be more.
Oh, yeah.
So just know that and just...
We're always growing and learning, expanding.
Exactly. We're always growing. We're always learning. We're always expanding. Just brace yourself for the journey and just strap in, man, and have fun with it.
Yes, sir.
So 5D, he really got me into a lot of different cool, unique people that I don't watch too many people because I really watch where I'm getting my information from. But 5D showed me a lot of cool people like Bashar channeling and just a lot of cool information that I wasn't aware of.
We really feed off each other, which is the most fun thing. To get both of our enthusiasm behind it and conscious, like our eagerness. And we just kind of, boom, we come together, collaborate and like, oh, I found this, I found that. Look at this source, our book's right here, So, yeah.
And it's fun, guys. It's fun. That's why you need friends and people around you, family that's going to be there for you to just lead you on the right path, share this information, check you, make sure you're not going down the wrong path, because that can happen as well. The darkness will try and trick you guys. We've all seen that firsthand. So I know a lot of people that are with me, from like years ago, over a decade ago, that I've known that started down the path and they're not on the same path today. But there are a lot of people that are, and there's a lot of young kids now that, really understand it and are really getting it, and they love it, and they're really going to be the next generation for the path of light. And we have to make sure we're steering everyone and teaching them the correct information so they could all be on that path of light.
I mean, and like the topic of spirituality is just, I mean, I know it's very vast, but it's just so important because when you think about it, there's just so much more than meets the eye. And it's sad to think that what we see in our reality, in like the third dimension, is all that there is. Just go to work, whatever you do, your daily routine. Exactly. It's so much bigger than that. And once you learn, you can kind of get to know yourself better, right? You know, and I know Han basically that's his premises with his meditations and the page. He gets you to kind of get to be your best self. And that's why I love the energy. I had to come and join this podcast.
Exactly. I mean, we're glad to have you here, man.
Definitely.
I have some interesting stuff. We all got some interesting points to talk about.
Yeah.
Right, of course.
Exactly. We're going to have fun.
Yeah.
So you guys, if you're new to the podcast, we talk about all kinds of spiritual information. We talk about extraterrestrials, alien, ancient sites, ancient texts.
Yep.
We just really get into every kind of aspect, whatever is interesting to us. New, studies in science, whatever we want to talk about, we really get into it. It's just kind of like a cool little hangout for your, you and your spiritual friends to just bounce ideas off of each other, talk about what we're into.
We could talk about the things that people don't talk about enough.
Exactly.
People really need to shed light on and acknowledge. And
exactly. So,
Yep.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. 5D he's really got me into this whole Bigfoot thing, the Sasquatch. He knows a lot more about it than me. I'm more into extraterrestrials, aliens, and there is a distinction between extraterrestrials and aliens, guys. Okay, guys, we just had a little technical difficulty, and the video quality and the audio quality will change, and it will continue to get better and better. So just know that. But I was saying that there's differences between, I'm more of a extraterrestrial alien guy, and there are differences between extraterrestrials and aliens. So I like to make that distinction.
What is the difference?
The difference is you can be an extraterrestrial that's not an alien, if that makes sense. You can be an extraterrestrial that's a human being, essentially. Underground. Exactly. There's some underground stuff going on. But you can be an extraterrestrial that's not an alien. You can be an alien that's not an extraterrestrial. For instance, a dolphin or maybe like a squid or something is, in a sense, an alien to a human being. Basically. Because they're not genetically the same, but they're not extraterrestrial. They're terrestrial to our planet. So, it's just a small distinction.
And then even thinking about paranormal activity, you have ghosts. Ghosts are technically extraterrestrial, but not alien.
Yep.
On the flip side, like a ghost is like say that you see an apparition, like you're seeing an extraterrestrial, they're from another realm.
Yeah.
Basically, getting into spirituality, that's what even got me started. I'm like thinking like there's more to this, and I start looking at people who had ghost sightings, and then what's next? You see people who have seen orbs. You read about that. And people who've seen extraterrestrials. And I kept saying, what are people seeing? People are seeing something.
Yeah, and I feel like people are seeing orbs more and more. I mean, we used to hear about orbs, growing up and just researching.
On camera more. That's what.
They're on camera more, and
more evidence.
The technology is getting better to where they can actually find these.
Wait, I'm still confused. Like, so basically, an alien is from another planet, and extraterrestrial is like just like a non-human.
No, alien is something that's not genetically the same as us.
Okay.
So, like a dolphin, a squid or something. That's
like
alien
all animals.
No, that's alien to humans. Okay. A lot of people believe dolphins aren't even from this planet at all. They're so
like conscious.
Their brains are so big.
So they're highly intelligent.
Beings.
They've been declared the smartest animal in the
exactly
right?
Like they're a highly developed species that some people believe is from another planet, but they're terrestrial to our planet right now. So they're different from us genetically, which makes them alien. But they're terrestrial.
You hear about those stories.
So there could be an extraterrestrial that's not an alien to us because they're actually human beings. Yeah. But they don't live on Earth, which makes them extraterrestrial.
Think about those stories like how the dolphins help the fishermen get the fish, and in return they get the extra fish.
Yeah.
Like there's a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, that story was pretty interesting.
They're really, really linked.
They're the only animal that's actually helped human beings.
They know something.
Hunt.
Yep.
hunt.
Yep.
Like in a symbiotic way, like dogs and stuff. It can be trained to help humans hunt, but this was actually dolphins, wild humans working together to get the fish.
Not a trained dog.
Yeah, they weren't trained. I mean, wild animals.
They're on that same wavelength, and they somehow they could kind of they see us on that level. Man, it's just wild. So like we were talking about the Sasquatch beings, and I loved how on Han his page when I saw his video on the Sasquatch. I
check that out if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's amazing how he goes in depth, but then he goes and has it sourced by Dolores Cannon. If you guys don't know her, a really good public speaker, metaphysicist, hypnotherapist. She does a lot of things and has books. But he mentioned about the Sasquatch, and then I'm like, man, you definitely have pieces to the puzzle. And I had to pretty much. Yeah,
you brought your Sasquatch book.
Yeah, I need to hear more because like. I'm on board with a lot of spiritual things. Love aliens, you know, crystals, whatever. I believe in a lot of things, and there's a lot of things I used to be like, I don't know, or not, like, for example, like past lives, I wasn't sure, but now I totally believe in that. Sasquatch, it's still one of those things where I'm just like, I don't know if I believe in it. I don't know.
I'm kind of the same way where I do believe Sasquatch. I mean, I think the shows that are out there kind of undermine what's actually going on. I mean, you got looking for Bigfoot.
It's kind of like one of those topics where people make it seem like it's really, really like your storybook monster, like there's a hairy mouse man out in the woods. But when you read about people who've really seen it, and like they put it down to a basic science of like this is actually a human and not an animal. It's like based off of like hair samples, behavior, what they track. Like not like some Hocus Pocus or Boogeyman in the woods.
Yeah, and that's like what those shows are. I mean, they'll show some air samples and all that. They'll show some genetics material, and they'll show the actual footprints and stuff. But a lot of that stuff can be hoaxed, as well as UFO stuff can as well too. Absolutely, but I mean, we can get into that as well. But I'm familiar with UFOs and extraterrestrials because I've actually made contact with them.
Oh, yes.
And I actually have seen it with my own eyes. On a certain level, but I've never seen a Bigfoot. But I heard that they're definitely out there and they're interdimensional.
Yeah, I think that's the part we're missing is that in the shows they never really mention, hey, these are psychic beings and they're interdimensional. They're just like there's a being in the woods. Let's get it. But when you put in those factors, then there's people who can get on that level, open their third eye and actually kind of get in contact with them, figure out where they are or sense them more within the woods, but they have to open up in that way. So reading these books, and this is by the author Kiwani Lapsaritis. He has like 7 books and there's different sources.
We'll link that as well.
Yeah. There's so many different sources. There's 3 different sources I like where I feel like they really explain the psychic Sasquatch the best, which is Dolores Cannon. And then you helped me mention something about, help me shed light on that. Yeah. And then there's Sue Walker. That's another one. And Kiwani Lapsaritis is the third. I know it's a name that's kind of difficult to say. Kiwani Lapsaritis.
Yeah. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that.
Yeah.
I'll leave the pronunciation to you. I'll leave that to you.
Right. All right. So this is, interesting story. And he's a researcher.
So talk about what he kind of gets into in that book then.
It's so interesting.
Does he find anything that's definitive in there? I mean, is it all just kind of, maybe, or is it just kind of secondhand accounts, or did he see Bigfoot himself?
No, it's so interesting. I think I'm like, why are we talking about this? Like, this has to be. Let's mention this. Like, let's keep an open mind for the viewers. Anybody who's observing this and like think about
definitely.
Always open-minded.
And so as he's writing this book, he's saying he's technically had a psychic connection with these beings. He's saying they're telepathic. He's saying, don't shoot them. They're not animals. They're really like us. And
so they don't get aggressive.
He's saying
because
they do.
They do because I'm not familiar with his interpretation, but I did read a little bit of the Dolores Cannon material, which is what my video is about.
And it lines up basically with what he's saying. And I think I see a lot of consistency.
Yeah, and she was saying they're meat eaters. She was saying they're telepathic.
Yeah, but that lines up with it too. Yeah. He's saying that they could eat berries, they could eat meat. They are carnivorous. Kiwani is saying that there's actually, he's mentioned 7 different races. But hold up, before we get started, he's saying Bigfoot is actually a little bit derogatory. He's saying when he connected with them, he said, well, look, they told him, our feet are like proportionate to us. Why are we called Bigfoot?
Oh, okay. So they got jokes. So Bigfoot, so they got jokes.
So they're like call it Sasquatch.
So they don't like that. They don't like getting talked down on like that.
Basically, that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Isn't that what the Dolores Cannon kind of said as well? Like they can be kind of shy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
They know if people aren't gonna like be scared, then
They
they're
can
not gonna
sense their
come out
intention.
and that type of thing. Yeah.
Well, what's funny is if we were all out in the woods and there was a Sasquatch presence, most likely it may go to Kelly. Apparently, I heard that they like feminine energy more.
We'll keep Sasquatch away from my wife from now.
Yeah.
Just for now. Just for now. I'm just saying.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Well, here, speaking of that, it gets really, really interesting. Like I said, I went out to. There's a place called ESETI.
Okay.
For those who haven't heard about
ESETI
it.
Ranch.
ESETI Ranch, exactly.
Okay.
Washington State. It's a beautiful place. And you could call it a spiritual retreat, but it's more than that. But you go there and there's a man by the name of James Gillian. He said he has sightings almost at least every night, at least a sighting at least every night or some type of encounter. Point is, there was an experience, not an experience that I had personally, but my partner at the time. Okay. I never forget this. This was at the point where I'm like, okay, what's going on? We're out in the woods. We're on the property at ESETI, right next to a place called Mount Adams. Okay. There was a mountain called Mount Adams. We were like literally camping out there. We had the tent. We rented a tent for a few nights. Beautiful, man. So the partner that I'm with came running back to the tent after going to the bathroom, said, I saw something out there. Something moved. I saw a big hairy leg come out from the tree, and she wasn't even into this stuff. I was more of like.
So she wasn't a believer when she saw it.
No, she just came along the ride. Okay. She said, I'm going to keep an open mind. Yeah. She saw something. I never saw her so afraid. Come the next morning, she was silent about it. I said, let's talk about it. I'm like, let's have fun. And I mentioned like what happened and the experience. She said, nope. Yeah. They're going to think I'm crazy. No. Bop. Never mentioned it.
So she was frightened by the experience.
Yes.
I mean, did she come to you and she was scared, or was
she was shook and
excited?
She didn't want to go back outside in the dark alone unless I came.
Was it dark when she saw?
It was dark. It was nighttime. Probably it was 8 p.m. And on the property, it was like the bathrooms were probably like maybe like less than 800 feet away. Okay. And then I never forget how afraid she was, but. The thing is, when I kind of whispered, I'm like, I think she saw something. The next day, people were in the group with us. The other people are like, well, this is normal. We're in Washington State. This is like the normal thing. And
they're probably thinking that this happens all the time.
This is what they think. Yeah. In Oregon and Washington, you can see signs that say, don't shoot Sasquatch. It's against the law to even try to shoot Sasquatch. Yeah. Bigfoot walking, of course,
And isn't that, and have you guys ever seen that Instagram account of like that fake, it's obviously fake.
Oh, yeah.
She's like a Bigfoot girl and she isn't that in Washington State too?
She's getting sturdy and,
she walks around and dances.
No, I have not seen that, no. Okay.
It's pretty funny.
Maybe we'll have to pull that up.
And it's so interesting. Like I said, we have to think about like what is going on? What are people experiencing? What are they seeing? Something is out here. It's without a doubt. There's too much information out there.
Yeah, definitely.
About people. There's people writing books about this.
Yeah.
Not just 10 people. Maybe I'm thinking this in the hundreds of thousands at this point. In 2022, and now with the internet, you can't hide it.
No. So, did you see anything when you were out there? And kind of talk about like the vibes that you got when you're on the ranch. Yeah. How long you were there? I mean, just what you felt.
And more about the ranch, because isn't that like a thing? Like people go there to try and see things.
Bigfoot dancing video.
Okay, let's check it out.
If you're watching this on video, I'll pull this up.
It. She struts. She does her thing.
Yeah. That's a good source, I think.
So now it's a female Bigfoot.
I've seen this before, and I've seen them more in the studio. Yeah. Somehow I've seen that, but but like she was saying, like the place where I was, it was on a place called a Vortex hotspot, where there's a lot of activity on Vortex hotspots, as you may know.
What kind of activity?
So
high energy, or?
I guess if I'm talking to people who probably never had activity, I gotta explain. People who, you'll see orbs, like balls of light. Those are what people could say are spirits. Okay. Or their own type of conscious being. You see orbs, UFOs, unidentified objects. I think they call them unidentified air phenomena now or something.
Yeah.
And like you see
UAPs.
UAPs, that's what they call them?
Yeah.
Something
I like UFO. So some people say UAP. So I don't know.
They call it that, and then you'll see like interdimensional beings. You can see maybe people who've seen Ascended Masters, Mary,
cool.
Along that line. So he said he fits into that box to where it's like in Washington State on the hot spot. Apparently, I think the military somehow recognized it at one point because there's black helicopters that he said circled around the property. I don't want to get in trouble on your page, so I'm not gonna.
Get into it.
But that mountain is right by. That's known to have some type of energy.
Mount Adams.
Mount Adams.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So just like Mount Shasta in California, Mount Adams in Washington State, the Native Americans have tales of like you going up the mountain and then you get healed from the energy. Like the wounded warriors go up the mountain and then they get healed. And there was a movie about that, Sunseeker. Woody Harrelson was in it. You know?
I've never heard of that.
If we could maybe you can pull it up.
Okay, we'll pull that up.
Woody Harrelson was in a movie called Sunseeker. I'll never forget. I saw that it was in like the late 90s, and the actor from White Man Can't Jump, famous actor. Yeah. And then there's the Native American he was accompanying him. He's like, I'm sick. I need to get to this mountain. In Utah. And he literally, I kind of took him hostage. He's like, you got to drive me there. Because my ancestors say this mountain heals me. And he had cancer. I think he was sick. And in the movie, Sun Chaser, I think. Sorry, Sun Chaser.
Oh, Sun Chaser.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in the movie, the man gets to the mountain. I don't want to spoil it, but the mountain has healing properties. And the ancestors are all there waiting for him at this sacred mountain in Utah.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah. So
1996.
Yeah,
the Sun Chaser.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different tales. So this is where I love.
We're just looking at the trailer for the people that are listening.
The trailer shows you basically how the Native American guy basically takes him hostage and says, "You got to take me there, or else I'm going to kill you. Because if I die, you die, we all die." so.
Oh wow.
But yeah, this is how you ground this reality.
Interesting.
It's been talked about for eons and ages from Native American indigenous societies. Yeah.
So what did you feel though when you were there?
Oh man, that's a good question. So pulling up there, in the description,
let's say what were your expectations before you got there, and then what did you feel whenever you're actually there?
Well, listen to this because my expectations. Okay, in the description when you buy the ticket, first of all, they tell you saying this is a high energy spot known as a vortex. This you can come here and experience a lot of high energy. They that's kind of in the description of like what you bought. Exactly. At that point, it's like, okay, I guess I paid for this, right?
Exactly.
And then I'm like, okay, we're like, yeah, I understand.
But not to cut you off, but for people that don't know, high vibrational energy, it can bring out the good and the bad necessarily.
Yes. And he mentions that too. Yes.
Yep. Because people don't realize whenever you get into high frequency, whenever you're going through this enlightenment period, whenever you're around high vibrational energy, if you just go to it immediately, then it'll bring up everything that you have to get through in front of your face right then and there. Then you have to get through it.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Then you're fine.
Yeah.
But
because
it'll bring it up.
To become high vibration, you can't be carrying any of that low vibration baggage with you. So it's going to force you through it. And in the Dolores Cannon book, she talks a lot about, like as we shift into 5D, we might experience bodily things such as ears ringing, headaches, things like that. So I imagine that might be a possibility there too.
It's like when we kind of get together and I've talked to these two with Han, Hank, and then Kelly. It's like we brainstorm because it's like a lot of the information we'll find out is really lining up. So basically, literally in the description, like they were saying, he's like, these are high energy spots. And a lot of people, sometimes they come for 2 days and they actually want to leave because of the energy it brings up.
Can't take it.
Those are the exact words that they said.
Yeah, they can't handle it. This is serious stuff, guys.
Wow.
He literally says it like you may come here and experiencing that. I don't know how many days you will stay, but it may force some people were forced to go. But it's hard to explain. You have to really feel it. But anyway, driving up there, I definitely felt it. I never actually explained it in this way, but as I drove up there, you could literally kind of feel like it's like things feel a little bit like time and space seemed a little bit distorted, but not extreme. You just felt like, wow, this feels very fluid, like
a little magical, dream like anything
like
can manifest.
Yeah, and I said, wait, pull over, because like we need to do like a quick prayer. This is how it happened.
Okay.
And I started to feel it. I said, we could experience something. I wanted all.
How far out were you at this point?
I was. We were at least like 5 miles out, and this is a remote area. Okay. So literally, like, I don't know how GPS worked, but it did. We got directions. We went off that too, but like after you got literally like 50 miles close to it, it's all remote. You just you have to go up a map and directions, and then maybe 10 miles away, I guess we stopped. I said, let me stop. I think I feel the energy, and let's just make sure we put a good intention to it.
Right.
And it's funny because the partner, like, you know, I'm not gonna say the name, but they were just saying like, I think I want to put the intention to see Sasquatch. I'm like, are you sure?
Wait,
and they said that jokingly.
Wait, she actually said that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she said that, and as a joke, like not serious.
Oh,
and I said, are you sure? And yeah, like, let him come to me, you know. And it was like,
oh,
that
wow.
Oh my.
So I just said, okay, but remember what you see here. Let's just invite everything good, and you don't know like what can be here. I'm telling you, you can see interdimensional things. I said the exact words, but then we drove up there, and I'm like, this is really it. Like, we're this place that I've heard about, like the Vortex hotspot. I've never been to one so strong.
So could you see the mountain at this point?
At the as soon as we pulled up, maybe about not even a quarter mile, you go up, and then there's like the big field. Once you go to the field, maybe a quarter mile up or so, you see the big mountain called Mount Adams, and it was like snow-capped, beautiful. It was like something out of like a catalog. Like, I'm like, is this real?
Yeah.
A lot of people say that, like this mountain, like it's like
so beautiful.
Looks like it's another dimension. Yeah. So, and like
I haven't been there, but I saw the pictures that you showed me. I mean, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, and
if you still have them, we'll put them up as well.
And I guess, you know, like the movie in Sun Chaser, it's like these mountains have sacred histories. So like the Native Americans they would bless them. They would do their ceremonies around them, and then plus they would take the wounded people up them to heal them.
Okay.
And it's really
so that was happening for a good amount of time.
For what?
Like that they would take him and heal him. This was before he owned the property.
That's how he explained it. That's how. So basically, the property owner, of course, James Gillian, his name. He was saying like the Native Americans would always teach him that this mountain is sacred. The warriors, the people would come here and they would heal each other. They would get healed from the mountain, and that was going on for like hundreds of years.
Another interesting thing I found too was you said something about it was kind of like a self-sustaining place too.
Oh yeah. It's funny, and some people even describe it as like its own kingdom, like as if it basically kind of is. It's like you have. It's not even like, it's hard to even say describing a word. It's not a commune. Not just a kingdom, but they got their own food, own way to contribute. There's contributionism. So basically people who are staying or living there. We had a good conversation with somebody. He was actually from Europe. And then he said, I love to be here. I don't need basically a lot of money. I just, he was squashing apples at the time with his feet. He said, I just need to be here and have my needs met, which are food and shelter.
So people just feel called to be there.
Yeah, and he was talking about it.
He was probably there. He's probably there year round, right?
Yeah, he was talking about it for a long time, and then we kept asking him. Yeah, and it's a young guy from London, probably 25, close to our age at the time, and he just kept going on about it. Like, this is what our basic needs are, and I'm happy here. This is my job. Real educated, bright guy, but he liked being there, and it was like paradise to him, and it was paradise. It seemed like it was a beautiful place to be.
Yeah, I think
I had to get back to work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I feel like it's really good for a lot of people to kind of get back to that essence of just simpler times.
Yes,
and simpler life. It's good to be away from technology, away from people, cities, and just be in somewhere that's just surrounded by nature, nice clean air. You're in just a serene, beautiful place. I think we really need to get back to that.
Absolutely.
Especially at least going on a vacation. It's really important to just do that every once in a while.
I feel like I love how all three of us in this podcast can really ground this information, because no longer gone are the days of calling this stuff conspiracy, all this material conspiracy. Now it's like you're getting a lot of this introduced into like the curriculums in universities. Like
Right.
MIT is now acknowledging with neuroscience that there's a spirit. So you're getting a lot of this stuff acknowledged, and this is no longer it's like conspiracy. We have to shed light on it. Like there's other realms, there's other dimensions out here. There's more than meets the eye. There's
and a lot of that is
talk about, you know.
It's a lot of it is proven in metaphysics too. For many years, you can see that a lot of things that so-called, you know, part of the spiritual world or new age, whatever, it's also proven within metaphysics. So
and I know they're doing experiments now where they're actually putting people on a DMT trip, and they're holding them there. They're holding people on the DMT trip for an hour, and they're kind of just letting them experience that world.
How do
you have to use the bathroom real quick. You can go use the bathroom and come back.
I've been holding it, man.
Just unlock that door and close the door. And then just come right back in. I just don't want the dog to get out. We have her dog here today. But yeah, Kelly and I will just, you know, hold it down. What do you think about all this Bigfoot talk? And
I mean, I'm very open. I'm open to everything. I know he's read up a lot on it, seen a lot of videos on it. And
who's he?
5D. So that's why it's great to have him here today.
I just want people to know I'm not a huge expert on Bigfoot. Not yet. Extraterrestrials, ETs, I'm there. But
I don't know. For me, I've never seen like enough tangible evidence to make me believe. And like I'm open to anything. And I just personally haven't seen enough evidence to make me believe. And it's like
so you don't believe in Bigfoot?
I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like I don't not, but I don't believe. Like I know some people say it's like a interdimensional being where he can come in and out of dimension, and that can make a little more sense to me. I'm like, all right, but I just feel like all these people who go out searching for him, and it's like I've never seen like a photo that looks real to me personally.
I mean, I believe in Bigfoot. I just don't believe in all the people that claim that they've seen him.
Yeah, for sure. It's like
I believe there's almost anything that you can imagine out there somewhere.
Right.
And especially if people are saying that this is an interdimensional being. I mean, that makes sense to me.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of interdimensional beings that we're not aware of, especially if we can get into this later as well. But, you know, a common theory that I happen to believe is that, you know, the Anunnaki or different beings came to this planet and manipulated the human's DNA.
Right.
And made us to be, they took the existing Homo sapien or ape or whatever the being was here, and then they just genetically modified it to become more human-like. That's why a lot of our DNA and our telomere caps are capped at a certain number. And but I believe those beings that did that,
right?
There were other beings that Bigfoot essentially was, and that's who Bigfoot evolved to be. If our DNA hadn't been manipulated, that's what I believe. So I believe Bigfoot is out there, especially whenever you look at sources like Dolores Cannon, who I believe is a very viable source of, you know, truth and information.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like that lines up. I kind of clicked. I heard what you said. Yeah, their stranded DNA, it was altered basically from an existing hominoid. Yep. Like that's higher information. It seems like, and I love it because as you research people who are really, really in depth with Sasquatch, it's really lining up.
Yeah, that's something I noticed too. If now I kind of have like a base of information where if I read anything new and it doesn't align with, you know, the particular, like, you know, 3-4 other sources, I'm like, I just don't believe in this. You know what I mean? Because once you get to a certain level as well, you can kind of just feel the frequency and the level of knowledge. Exactly. You can feel the frequency and level. And if something is resonating with you, you feel a vibration, a tingle. You can truly understand and feel it. And if it's not, you're just kind of like, I don't really know. But if it is true, you feel it and you know it.
So are Bigfoot, Yeti, and Sasquatch all the same thing?
Yeah, so that's the next level, and I love these questions. It's like, because the first level, whenever people think about Sasquatch, it's like, okay, let's hunt it, find it. Then you're like, okay, what is their culture like? How are they living? Like, let's do anthropology on them. Mm-hmm. And of course, like, I love to study anthropology in undergrad anyway. That's just how I kind of like.
Yeah, you're big on anthropology.
Yeah, right? It's like how somehow I kind of really like resonate with the information.
That's why I like hearing from you, because you can actually match up some of the science with the fiction. You know what I mean? Or not necessarily fiction,
the culture.
But
basically like what Kiwani was saying is like there's at least 7 different races, and like he was saying, like there's people and there's Asians, there's Arab,
right. That's what I was
black,
thinking.
white. But what he also mentioned is that there's different levels of intelligence with what you would call Sasquatch, because there's some that you call ancient ones. He said they're actually more human-like. Ancient ones, like people could say that they see like they call it skunk ape in Florida. There's Yeti, there's different names, but there's different levels of intelligence.
So is the ancient one, is this through all of them, or are we just talking?
Oh,
the ancient one is just with Sasquatch.
Amongst what we call what look like Sasquatch, there's ones that look like more human, or like they're the ancient ones.
Oh, they're the ancient ones.
A little bit less hair on the face. Like they're literally like men, hairy people in the forest. And this is talked about in indigenous cultures.
I have heard a story where this guy was in India.
Yeah.
And he was he had caught some kind of bacterial infection, and they were saying he was going to die or something, and he was sick in a really rural in the rainforest or the forest around there, and he said a Sasquatch, Yeti. He said Yeti, so he said a Yeti type being actually came to him whenever he was in one of his like fever states. But he said this was like clear as day. Came to him, gave him some kind of herbal medicine, and actually nursed him back to health. It didn't stay there, but it came in, gave him the medicine, and left, and then he got better miraculously.
And it's just funny how like with the information, like the author, he has like 7 different books, by the way, but he was saying with the Yeti, he said that's actually the least intelligent, and I kind of scratched my head when he said that. Does that mean the Yeti's more stupid? But he was just saying like there's levels.
I mean there's different levels. I mean all of them, I feel.
Somebody said Yeti is the less intelligent, but that was interesting when you said that.
Yeah, I think that just humans measure intelligence differently, and because even like dogs or cats, all these beings have a high level of intelligence, but some humans would say they're not intelligent at all in the sense of comparing it to a human, but especially with the Yeti and these beings, they can be more spiritual. That's what I believe. They can be more spiritual, so they're more in tune to where I always talk about. I just do what I need to do when I need to do it,
and that's the next level of research. We gotta acknowledge this. What made me really grasp the knowledge so much is that I saw the knowledge that were taking a lot of videos down from this man from Kiwani Lapsaritis.
Yep.
And he had a lot of material up, and he was talking about the same things we're saying now. And it's like, why are they taking this stuff down? And he would say. He would take samples. He would send samples to institutions, universities, and they would kind of like not analyze it, or they would never send it back, or they would never even write back. And I'm like, what's going on? Like they're really trying to dismiss this man. He had a PhD. He had like
you find that a lot, guys.
Yeah,
that a lot of time the knowledge it gets suppressed. It gets
like,
suppressed in academia.
It makes you think.
I mean, that's just the way it is right now.
It's really, really wild. The most here's this story, right? It really had me thinking. The most bizarre story when he wrote that during a forest fire in California, I think it was California, there was a big forest fire.
Okay.
It was documented in I think the news. A Sasquatch gets burned from the forest fire, starts running down the mountain, hauling down the mountain. He's like flying, just running. Come to find out, these people reported like there's a burning bear. I think there's an animal or bear on fire, and so they get the animal in the ambulance, and then they're like, we're going to take him to the veterinarian. And then the person analyzing him says, no, I think this is a human. This is a more like human. We got to take him to the hospital. So this is an actual article, and I really, really, I want to find the article and get the name and the date again.
If we find the article, we'll put it in the video or put it in the description.
Yeah, it was.
But if that's true, that is very
So they said that this was more human, and they had to take him to the hospital. and then patch them up. And then there was like, we heard little about it, but like certain documented things, and like the next level of this research is like when you
know how long ago that was?
Man,
that had to have been years ago,
probably
right?
20, could have been late 80s or 90s, something.
Yeah, that had to be at least the 80s.
And the next level of this is like, you look at it from a stance of like, these are people, and like they have a culture, like there's also like the language, like there's certain sounds that people heard them speak, and some people deciphered that. But when you think about it, like there's people who are out here actually finding samples. In Kiwauni, this guy, Kiwauni Lapsaritis, actually, I seen videos, he's had small glimpses of videos when these Sasquatch will be on the property stealing apples, you know. They like to eat meat, I've heard too.
He shows videos?
Yes, but you can't find it anymore. I'm like, what happened? Like I'm telling you, they took.
Because I just know the Patterson footage and all that.
Yeah, that's the basic. Everybody knows the Patterson.
Yeah, I mean that's like
the one
that's
video,
like Bigfoot 101.
Yeah, everybody.
The one old like first video, basically.
The one where the female Bigfoot walking.
He just looks at you like.
Yeah, just
and then turn around
and see it, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a female Sasquatch, I believe, right? But like the next level is when you look at the people who are really being dismissed. Like maybe the Patterson footage is okay because it's grainy, it's old. But what about the ones where people are seeing it on the property, or people who are in contact or saying they're psychically connected by them? We got to take that into account. That's like the next level of research, and
no, I mean for sure,
it's really going to take it to the next level with this phenomenon, I think. You know?
Yeah, I want to react to video. You showed me a video.
Yeah.
You showed me a video a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm not gonna lie, I was laughing. I was like, yo, this is that's not it.
Well, the thing is,
I don't judge anyone. I don't judge any situation. But when I saw that video, I was like, yo, I got shown the video with no context. Well, I'm like, I don't know about this.
Well, that's your honest reaction. Be honest, and I think to the majority of people, when they see some of the things, it could also make them laugh, if especially if they never really try to research and find out what the stuff is.
I'm pretty sure the guy in the video was laughing.
I think it's funny, and it's like, but also what I heard is when you can laugh about things like that, the high vibration, it's meant to make you laugh, so you can really receive the information, like to be in that high vibration of laughter.
I believe laughing is a tool to raise your vibration. Definitely.
And this is like something I found off this is a channel called Sasquatch Oracle, and they have tons and tons of material. Like there's people who've had encounters and sightings. Kiwauni is actually featured on this channel at one point. Other people that I mentioned.
Oh, he's on there?
Yeah, he's actually been featured on here. But there's a lot of people. I don't know why it always happens in Washington or Oregon, but it seems like they were always out there. I think
there's a lot of land there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of forest there.
Yeah.
And
something about like the West
uncharted
Coast
land where humans don't go too much.
It's like the last lands to be colonized and settled, and we've kind of tore up all the parts on the East Coast. But anyway, this video, I hope that everybody can keep an open mind.
Yeah,
it's very interesting. Let's look. We all have to.
We'll watch this. I'll put the link in the description. Yeah. If you want to watch with us, if you're just listening, it's called the video is called Sasquatch Speaks.
Yeah,
a documentary series featuring Sasquatch communication. And the channel, Communicators, Sasquatch Communicators, and the channel is Sasquatch Oracle, and the video has 46,000 views from 3 years ago.
Explain what's happening to him, because he's basically trying to channel what he believes is a Sasquatch.
And this is, this is 26 minutes and 49 seconds into the video. So, like I said, I'm watching it again, kind of without the full context. I'm just gonna watch it and react to it and kind of, because I seen it one time 3 years ago and just brushed it off.
You're like, what?
I want to know if I have the same reaction now or what. So 26 minutes.
It's a true reaction. Majority of people are gonna be like, what is this? Why is he making these sounds? Is this legit?
Because apparently I was like, maybe he's gonna channel and he does channel messages, but then he starts kind of screeching.
It's the honest reaction.
What's going on?
Basically, he's saying the energy of the Sasquatch, because it is a psychic being, is going through him and channeling through him. And this is the way he's communicated with them. He's of Native American descent.
Yep.
Don't quote me on the tribe. I forgot which exact tribe, but he's highly associated with that. And his basically, I guess he's learned with his ancestors how to do it. But anyway,
I'll read the description.
It's interesting, man. It's very
a 3-part series. The Sasquatch have come out of hiding and have begun communicating with people all over the world. Shamans, healers, elders, and empaths. They have made close friendships with many. This film features interviews with several of these experiencers who share their incredible stories of communication with the Sasquatch people, explore the amazing reality of who the forest people really are, and hear their stories. They are ready to speak. This is part 1 of 3 movies. So we'll go ahead and play this, and
without further ado,
and then we'll see. So, like I said, this is just going to the part where he's channeling it. So, hit play now.
His energy is very large. It's about probably 20 feet. That's how tall he is.
20 feet tall.
Yeah, these beings are here
Okay.
are gigantic.
So I'm gonna channel this
Like there's different races.
using their voice.
See, he's laughing in the video too. I don't know why he's laughing, but
Sound
it
check,
makes me want to
just
laugh.
so you are aware, I'm warning you right now.
We
It's
have
gonna
to
be
shed light on
intense.
this topic. It's like the fact that
Okay.
he's channeling this being is just, it's incredible. It's an intense video, you know.
Yo, hold up.
So his
What else
energy
do
and
I've never run across a
frequency is
video like
very
this, honestly.
expressive. As
Hold on,
so
I'm gonna
he's
pause
talking
this for a
about this.
This is,
How do
you know? It's intense.
I see that. I see that, and I'm like, I don't know, man. You know what I mean? I'm with a lot of stuff. I see that. I'm like, yo, I don't know.
He came to me like, look, I don't know what you're looking up now.
yeah. That's out there. I mean, anything is possible.
This could be the next level of the contact where it's like you're psychically not just trying to find it, but trying to connect with them, sense these beings. Like, this is how they communicate.
Yeah.
From a lot of different sources, they're saying that they're telepathic. They're not even going to have to open their mouth at some point. They're just being able to like ping it to your mind, and then boom, you get the image, you get the thought.
He doesn't even have to close his eyes.
Yeah, I mean, his eyes
He
wide
just saw
open.
it
I
all.
mean, he's
He saw
there.
how tall
He's
he was.
conscious. I mean, you've seen the height.
It's a lot of open minds to really think about how to get to the next level of this research, and thinking about what also made me think and scratch my head too. And I'm already into this stuff, and I'm like, he had a page where the Sasquatch was actually, the ancient one was actually, he actually wrote something, and he scanned it and put it in a book, and I'm like, wait, what? So they can write? He said, well, you know, the ancient ones are kind of more human. Like, basically, they're humans with a lot of hair. Mm-hmm. The ancient one, he called it, his name was Haloti. An interesting name, but his name was Haloti. And in the book, he actually scanned it. He wrote a note. And in the note, it's not like proper grammatical English, but he wrote a note to the author, Kiwauni. And
wait, so
like,
they can speak English?
Basically, the ancient ones, apparently. The race of more humanoid looking like Sasquatch can speak and communicate or write.
Does he explain how that's possible?
Oh yeah, there's this book explains
how could they write English?
He basically he was saying from his communication with him, I think he's the one that taught them apparently, and they actually had wrote as if they were like maybe it could have been like a 10-year-old education.
Oh, okay.
And
I mean,
like,
I mean that's actually believable because
scratching my head, like I'm like,
but you can teach apes sign language.
That's a good point.
You know,
that's a good point. Yeah, like the what's the gorilla's name? That the gorilla had I'll never forget. The gorilla had a pet cat.
Yeah,
and then the cat died. So they interviewed the gorilla. Like, how do you feel? Was it Coco Gorilla? What was the name of it?
I don't know.
There was it was a lady gorilla. Big lady gorilla in the zoo, like, and then
I remember you're talking about the older video, kind of 90s.
Yeah. But think about this, right? So the cat died. The gorilla's pet died. The gorilla would always pet the cat, stroke the cat every day. When it died, it said, "I'm sad," and put the fingertips near the eyes and took it down and drew it down like it was crying. Yep. Wow. I'm sad. Put the hand on the heart. My heart hurts. I'm sad. I'm sad. The cat died. My cat died. So that gorilla was trained to communicate with people, and that's that's a gorilla. You know, we're like, so like, what do we know? And
exactly. So if the Sasquatch or the elders or the ancient ones are even more intelligent, then they should be able to speak and write.
Right. Well, have you heard of the story of how they even found the gorilla? Because a lot of the people trekking the jungles were like, there's a hairy man in the jungle.
Oh, okay.
And nobody believed it. They're like, what do you mean? Like, no, there's a hairy beast with black fur, big, strong, hairy beast or man. And they're like, oh, okay, no. Like how they did with Sasquatch. But then you kind of find out there's gorillas, there's groups and groups of gorillas living in the jungles. And that's, you know.
Yeah. I mean, that's like some Tarzan type stuff.
Yeah, that's the only analogy I could think
of.
It
was a human swinging around in there, and they went in there and they saw
ape. Because
the world is way bigger than people realize.
What would you think about when you first saw a huge gorilla or monkeys? You would say these are maybe people with hair.
I mean, they're still finding new species of monkeys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's very possible.
All the time, you know.
And what's the ape that they know was out there? Gigantopithecus.
Oh yeah. Well, he's extinct, right?
Yeah, but at least they know that existed in one point or another.
What interesting information always lined up when I heard about the name Bashar, channeled by Daryl Anka.
Yeah, I love Bashar.
Looked in the books from Doris Cannon, and like I was saying,
even Billy Carson, man.
Billy Carson's
a great one with the you know.
And Sue Walker,
the tablets of Thoth,
20 Lapsaritis. So what they said is we all stem from, basically there was like a lemur type being. And I think what's interesting in the university, I learned this, but there's so many pieces missing in anthropology in undergrad. I felt like, but they said, okay, there was like a lemur type being. But they said we all came from monkeys, but no, I think there's a part missing because you know, the lemur, it was, genetically modified at one point, and then there was a hominoid being. So basically, we're not coming from monkeys. We're a whole other ancestor of hominoid. There was a hominoid being, pre-existing hominoid being. One of them was branched off to become Sasquatch, and the other human. The other was, branched off to become human.
Yeah.
So what's funny is Kiwani said, who's the missing link? And in the book he says this, and they laugh. They say, well, you are. they're laughing. He said, "What do you guys mean?"
The Sasquatch said, "You are,"
and he said, "You are." And then he says, it mentions it all the time. He said, "I don't understand, but they keep telling me that we are the missing link." And okay, when I was in anthropology learning in undergrad at the university, they always taught us like, okay, we come from apes, but there's what is it? Apes have more chromosomes than us, right?
Yeah, I believe they have like one more, one less, or something like that.
So I kept saying like something's not adding up, but they're like, we come from apes, and there was like Homo erectus, all these different types of hominoids, and then boom, like humans. But how did we lose the strands of DNA? There was I think 2 strands that we lost or something. I think apes have, is it 48? I hope I don't get this wrong.
Know.
Is it that? I mean,
don't ask me.
What was it? It went from 48 to 46 or something.
Something like that.
And that's when I'm like, I was in the class with my jaw dropped. Like, how? We lost chromosomes. How? So there's different factors we gotta consider here.
So I just had a question. In the book, when he communicates with the Sasquatch, is it like a telepathic channeling type communication or fully physical communication?
But yeah, so when the Sasquatch researcher,
it says apes have 48 chromosomes.
So
humans have 46.
So all right, so
wait, like
missing 2.
Background in contrast to great apes who have 48 chromosomes, modern humans,
yeah,
and likely Neanderthals and Denisovans have and had respectively 46 chromosomes.
So that my whole thing is like, how do we directly come from them? People have to think about this. This is science, like, and what the answer was, it still is like, oh, we have junk DNA. They told me that in university, like there's junk DNA we don't use anymore. Like there's no such thing. Like there's junk DNA from like it's something.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
Yeah, it's not going to be created for no reason.
Make us higher beings. Like what is
exactly.
it? So, but I think Kelly had asked a good question. So how does the researcher communicate with them? Apparently, this particular researcher and a few of them I heard, Kiwani Lapsaritis says sometimes they appear to him physically. Sometimes they're physical, non-physical, meaning like you can kind of see through them. And
like, does he go to the woods or?
Yeah. So he's literally saying he's going out there, living with them as an anthropologist, certified anthropologist.
That's the kind of thing I find far-fetched.
Yeah, me too. That's why
what I mean.
That's why I had all the books.
I'm not saying I don't believe it, but it's very.
That's why I had to look into it.
Because then it's kind of like, why don't you have pictures?
Well, okay. So there's different things. There's different reasons to explain it. He's asked these questions. He said they don't want humanity to gather up all that evidence of them. They feel the energy of the doubt. They feel the people who are saying, hey, all right, boom, let's kill them. And that as a sensitive being, that goes directly to them, and they don't like that. They don't want to be like, oh, okay, let's give them a dead body of one of our elders. They say that's a no-go. And apparently in the book, he said when they asked him, he said, we're not going to talk about this anymore. We're not going to give up even like a tooth. And if he's lucky, maybe get some strands of hair, I guess. I don't know how it goes. I just feel like they're as sensitive beings. He's always said they don't want to get photos taken. He said if people don't, if they need the photo of us and they're still going to keep doubting, that means they're just going to doubt anyway. He said even if we gave a photo, to society, they still would doubt it. Yeah.
But don't they know that when he's communicating with them, like he's doing research for his book and stuff like that?
Well, yeah, but
so wouldn't they, if they don't want information getting out?
It's interesting. In the beginning of the book, he says, for some reason, the Sasquatch had trusted me because these are the Sasquatch's words. They said, you're not normal like the others. You're not normal. You're not the normal others. They even said not like normal, like the normal white people. I don't know why they said that, but they're like, they said we love you. They said we love you, Kane. They said Kuwauni, we love you. You're very open-minded. Yeah. The way that you treat animals, like the way that you treat animals, and this is in the book.
So Bigfoot's racist.
Yeah, I don't know because he treats animals well. When he goes to the forest, he's helping the animals get out of traps and stuff. But anyway, the Bigfoot says that they saw how the in our culture, how we treated each other, like how we treated different our different genders on this planet, the races of beings, like when the blacks and Asians and all that came to America, they were enslaved, and this is like almost word for word in the book. So the Sasquatch said, well, what will happen to us?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, but the thing is too, I mean, if you're interdimensional being and stuff, you have to have some kind of layer of protection over yourself, right? Yeah, yes. And I believe Dolores Cannon even said that the Kelly's gonna let the dog out. Just go ahead and unlock the door so you don't lock yourself in there, or just leave it cracked or something. But okay, good. Anyways, Dolores Cannon, I believe she even said that the Bigfoot is kind of protected by nature spirits.
Yeah, nature spirits.
And dang. So they kind of have some level of protection to them.
The nature spirits, and also that goes into like the Sasquatch and the UFO connection. So basically a lot of people who...
now we're getting into it.
Yeah,
now we're getting into it. Now, okay, I'm all for Bigfoot being an alien.
The crux of it,
Yeah, I'm all in on that.
Yeah, so look at this. Like people who are seeing Sasquatch sometimes are also seeing UFOs that go along it. There's a page in the book where, after somebody had a sighting of Sasquatch, the orbs appeared directly after. The orbs of light, basically, like what people can call their own entity or spirit.
Okay. Do you know how these orbs appeared?
Yeah,
Were they in the sky?
They photographed. So basically, they photographed them. Imagine you going out in your backyard and you're seeing maybe there's some foliage or in your backyard. You're just like, boom, let me snap a shot. And then you just see some orbs floating around. Maybe it could be like 10 feet off the ground, but they're just floating around. And what kind of got me to think about that, I'm like, what are these orbs? I never got them photographed. And I went out to that place in Washington, in Washington State, went out to Mount Adams. There was a guy right next to me. He said, you know what? We actually got done a meditation circle. That's what it was. And he was right next to me. He said, I'm going to get my camera out. I feel that there's some energy around me.
While you were there?
While I was there, next to me. The guy sitting right next to me, like as close as you are right now. And then he just said, I'm going to take my camera.
What kind of camera was it?
He had probably like it captured, what was the kind that captures a lot of light? The high spectrum.
Just like one of the cameras that has like ISO. Where you can just like... Yeah. Where you can just like set it and over time it'll capture all the light.
No.
Kind of like the one for astrophotography?
No, it was a digital camera.
Oh, okay.
And it was probably like a real nice high grade one, but then he just said, I feel like I should snap some shots. You know, took his camera, just pointed that kind of like close to the ceiling of the room. Next thing you know, camera was the pictures were full of orbs.
With flash on, I'm guessing.
Did he have flash? Probably. Well, it was inside at the time. We were inside.
Okay.
And I don't think he had to have flash. He just he took the photos, and my jaw dropped, and I'm like, there's something here. There's something out here, and that's how I feel like it directly linked to me. And I know you've had your share of fun of experiences.
Yeah. I've had UFO sightings. I've done the meditations that. Dr. Stephen Greer, he actually created the CE5 protocol, and through that, I just loved it, and because I've always loved
extraterrestrial. That's another good name to mention. I know, Stephen Greer. Like a lot of these people are like risking their name and even their lives and careers to put forth information just to get people to think, because a lot of it's been secreted, it's been coveted, they've been shut up. So they're like, now, like I almost now. At a certain point, they almost don't have a lot to lose. So let me tell it all. And
exactly.
They try to kill me. I think.
And people like Stephen Greer. I mean, if you looked at my see maybe the last podcast, I don't know which order we're going to launch in, but I went through all my principles. Those are the posters behind me. Principle number 10, in the principles of Han, is that you exist. So knowing you exist means that I have a couple principles. Number 10 and number 2 go together. So number 2 is all time is now. So if you exist now, then therefore you are an infinite being, because now is the only time. Therefore you always exist in one form or another. So, excuse me, there's people like Stephen Greer that know that all time is now, and that know that you exist now. Therefore you are an infinite being. Therefore they're not scared of death, because they know that even if they do die, this isn't the end.
A lot of teachers mention that there's even when you think of the concept of time, it's like almost everything's happening at once, as if there's no forward or past. So when we think about time, like what it is, it's an illusion. I explained it's an illusion with a purpose, but it's like basically you're there's only now. So you can get back to 1980, you can get to 19.
And I kind of went through that too.
Timelines exist simultaneously, right?
When I go through my principles, I get through that as well, because it's like, time is it's like a movie. Okay. That's how we're moving through time. The only time is now. When you're watching a movie, a motion picture, you're not actually watching people move. You're watching one picture at a time, frame by frame, going together. Therefore, it simulates something that looks like movement. So it's the same thing where we exist now. The only time we exist is now, but we're shifting through dimensions, becoming a new person every instant in time. So it seems like it's a coherent time that's going on, but in reality, we're just one person every instant in time.
Absolutely.
And the only time is now. So it's just like a movie where it seems like time is going by, like it seems like there's motion going by when you're watching a movie, but really you're just looking at one picture at a time.
Well, that's why it's like, it's like, let's talk about this now. It's like 2022, and it's like the majority of us are already getting presented with this information in movies. Like Marvel's got the metaverse. There's a movie that's called Everything Happening at Once. There's like, we're getting presented this information in movies, and it's like about time where it's like we all kind of have to catch on, acknowledge it. Science is actually acknowledging it. Like, this is the way things are actually, like our society, or sorry, our the structure of this reality is fabricated,
Yeah, I mean,
so art imitates reality. It's just like they're shown in the movies, and it's like, what do you think's next? Like they're gonna include that in science, and it's just gonna be like, that's what is
exactly.
And I love how we could kind of explain it and maybe back it by science, because I know sometimes there's viewers that know a lot of the metaphysics stuff or spirituality. There's people who kind of follow the How Meditations page and understand it, but there's a majority that probably won't understand it. So
there's people that won't understand it until the science catches up to it, and then then sometimes these people won't understand it.
You want to try to meet in the middle.
Yeah, it's the same thing even with extraterrestrials and UFOs or UAPs, whatever you want to call them. The government comes out and says these things are out there. People still don't believe that they're there. I mean, it's craziness.
That's the times we're coming on. It's like now the government basically does acknowledge there's UFOs and there's something out there. It's just they're slowly doing it. I don't know why they're being so careful. It's just like, okay, maybe there's life out there. It's microscopic life out there. Okay, what else is out there if there's microscopic life? Like, so it's just an interesting thing. And then to get into like what we're talking about with all these things with spirituality, like each culture, indigenous culture, has the same story.
Yep.
I mean, you can see this. Ancient Aliens in the History Channel, they're of course they're known for talking about this, but that's just one source. But
exactly,
they go back to like the crux and like the they back it by how far ago does this narrative go? It's like, oh, the Hopi Native Americans believed in this for thousands of years, and the people who built the Nazca Lines in Peru, they knew about this. So they, this is stuff that it's not really new information. I think we're almost like we're relearning. Because we had to relearn what we've been taught. A lot of the stuff we've been taught has been in reverse,
I mean, people don't realize. I mean, humans are the only species on this planet that need an actual structure to live in, or they're gonna die. They actually need clothes on their back, or they're gonna die. Yeah. They actually need these things, or they're gonna die. No other animal is like that. All these other creatures and animals on the planet are self-sustaining in a way where they have fur, they have things.
They have everything they need. Oh yeah, about that. What's funny, let's kind of circle back around to the Sasquatch topic. The researcher by the name of Sue Walker, there's a woman. She actually even draws these beings, but she's psychically connected to them too. And they explain their bodies. She explained that their hair, they could also control their temperature, like if they kind of get too hot. Somehow within them, it can kind of self-regulate. There's some animals on Earth that can do that already that we know of, and the Sasquatch, she said they have an eye that could almost see at night completely. They could almost see in pitch black because of like a reflectiveness to the light, almost as if they could actually reflect light back out to illuminate the area. She's explained that, and
wait, can you say that part again? That's crazy.
Yeah,
wait, that's really interesting.
She explained the physique of the Sasquatch, and it's like their hair. It's like people are like, okay, how do they survive out there? Like he was, like Khan was saying right next to me, their bodies are physically adapted to be out in the wild. Like for the cold, they have the fur. When it gets hot, there's a certain point where they can self-regulate their temperature. And people are like, how do they survive as people? Well, the body's amazing. There's some animals on this planet that can glow in the dark, but their bodies are self-regulating, and then their eyes have this ability to where it can reflect so much light. It could almost kind of like illuminate forward from what for what they're seeing.
And if this sounds like far out there, look at these deep sea creatures out there.
They look like aliens.
It's like unbelievable.
Right? Yeah, I mean, there's some freaky stuff out there.
They still don't know what's down there. They're still discovering.
It's like they said, we've explored more of space than we have of our own ocean.
Yeah.
I mean, think about how large and vast these oceans are.
And dig this, right? Think about this. When they got the hair sample from the Sasquatch and got it analyzed, the hair follicle was almost like it wasn't even like a white. It was almost like a transparent fur, like under the microscope. And this was like documented, like when there was a certain institution that actually researched and looked into the hair of the Sasquatch when it was sent out, and they're like, we don't know what it is. We don't think that it's animal, and I don't think it's human, but it looks more similar to human. But this hair is something we never seen. And I really want to go pull up more of these sources, but I've heard this as a documented, an actual documented account of when the hair was sent out to the research lab. And Kiowani mentions this in his book.
Wow.
And, it's just like they can't.
I mean, even when you watch,
they can't determine what it is.
Yeah, even when you watch those shows like Finding Bigfoot, you'll see some like lab samples that are like, yeah, we don't necessarily know what this is. Like it could be this, it could be that.
Yeah,
but it's like kind of like in a gray area.
Well, he's saying like they're like a human, and
Are Sasquatch is there genetically? Are they quite similar to apes and monkeys, or are they kind of different?
Well, it's like just as much as we are, because like
right.
When he says it, the way he says it, it's like people can come, an alien can come on the planet and say, well, these people, they look just like monkeys, or or gorillas. They could say we look like that, but they look like us. They look like us. They also look like gorillas, because we're all hominids.
And I heard that there's similar
same species.
There's a similar pattern to life whenever you go out there. I mean, there's accounts of mantis beings that look like, mantis is here. There's accounts of all different kinds of bugs and different kind of beings, and even those look like aliens if you really look at them compared to us. But there's,
what they say, the star shape is very popular with like the 2 legs and the 2 arms.
Exactly. So these genetically, these humans out there that are extraterrestrials, it would have been easy for them to come to this planet and seeing apes and saying, hey, we are kind of like a subset of apes as well, but we're more sophisticated and we look different. Yeah. Let's make these apes into more like us.
Basically.
Turn them into humans, essentially.
Now, how long do they typically live? And when they die, as far as I know, I mean, I really barely know anything about this field, but as far as I know, no carcasses have ever been found. Do they dissolve into the next dimension, or how does that work?
I've seen sources on that. I mean, you ever heard about that guy? There was one that was like a hoax. I think it was a hoax, but there was one guy who had like a refrigerator in his garage or something. I mean, there's some hoaxes.
A refrigerator with Bigfoot in it?
Yeah, remember?
Whoa.
There was somebody who
tried... Dahmer type stuff.
Yeah, well, they said they
what's he doing with that?
Body. I don't know the backstory, but I think they found out one of them was like a hoax. And it's just like Kiwani was saying. He said they're not going to let a body be found. Like, they're really smart, and if they know how to play with these realms and go interdimensionally, they're not gonna let themselves get caught. Of course, okay, let's talk about whenever there's some that got caught or some that people said that they shot at. Sometimes mistakes, I guess, can happen. Apparently, I know, like these are sentient beings, but there's been accounts where they probably felt hunted and threatened, and they probably did attack. That's a possibility too. Of course, there's there's a good and bad sometimes with everything. I know there's a story called The Missing 411. Did they talk about that in there?
I haven't heard about that. What's that about?
It's you don't quote me word for word, but I feel like that mentions like how there's cryptoids. Cryptoids are beings that can kind of come in and out the realm. Then they're snatching up the children.
Like the Crypt Keeper?
Well, you never looked at.
I never heard of cryptoids.
No.
That's interesting.
There's a whole page about it. There's like look up Missing 411 and make sure that I'm right, because there's they go by the whole narrative about why people go missing.
6 more true scary missing 411 stories. And so this has to do with Sasquatch?
Well, yeah, but I don't always agree. I don't agree how they can completely blame Sasquatch, but okay. But like I said, there's sometimes good and bad with everything. Maybe there could be a possibility that
this one's park ranger reveals terrifying secret within Yosemite.
That a being happened to do something like this.
I'm playing it now. 7 seconds.
What's behind all these strange disappearances and sightings? Is there a possible connection, or is it really all explainable? For those that don't know, Yosemite is the second largest park in the country.
Yeah. It's always those parks out west, like Joshua Tree, Yosemite.
Yeah. You've been to Joshua Tree as well.
Yeah, and people go missing. As soon as I put up the Joshua Tree, it said 2 people missing last week, and we're like, wait, what?
Also, we'll probably get to this the next time we got 5 Beyond, but he's actually the one I went on the trip to Wyoming with.
Yeah. Oh man.
So I mean, that's
very, very.
That's a whole nother story for another podcast.
It was a transformational trip, and that needed to happen, and it was very, very transformational trip. It just kind of it made me end up where I needed to be in life. It was funny during the time of 2020 when everything kind of shifted and the world was kind of funky anyway. It was just like it escalated things times 10. Well, I think all 3 of us, we realized it.
Definitely,
And coincidentally, we're going and traveling to vortex areas. Like it's funny they have a lot of sacred land out in Wyoming. And Deborah's Tower, that's where they shot the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Right? They shot right there. But it was just there's a lot of different weird things, quirky things that happened in that trip. Yeah, we can mention that for next time. It was just but basically everybody hopefully keeps a broad mind, hopefully gets to get something sparked in them to kind of maybe research this on their own. Like we want to kind of get people to just think and really, really acknowledge the stuff, become their a better their higher self, their whole self.
Yep, the best
and
version
better
of
self,
self.
the best version of
Sure.
yourself, and to kind of just also think out the box. So that has a lot to do with it too.
Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, we really got into it in this podcast. I mean, I feel like we could go another hour.
Somehow we stayed in context. We kind of still. I thought we were gonna float adrift and get into all types of other things like macaroni and cheese, whatever. But like we stayed in the context and But because this is really, this area is very important and it could be very broad. But when you understand it's like things kind of click.
So you believe in Bigfoot?
Sasquatch.
Yeah, I'm being racist.
They don't want to say hey. That's like
Sasquatch.
That's like hey. Let's say hey and saying hey big nose. You know.
Big
nose tribe. What's up?
Yeah.
And then you document it, write it down in the book. But I mean, I think there's something out there. I believe there's Sasquatch out there. Where I think now it's just like I know something's out there.
So you didn't believe in Sasquatch when we first started. Are you enlightened now?
I mean, I like the information. I would say like I said, it's one of those things where it's like I'm like, no, I don't believe in that. It's not that, but I wouldn't say like, yes, I believe in it. It's just kind of like probably, but like I just haven't seen enough personally for I'm like, yes, I know it's real. Like absolutely.
And I can respect that. I completely respect that. And it's just I almost had like a secondhand account where the person next to me said, I saw it. And they're so shaken up. I'm like, they may really saw something, you know, like, and that's what really got me going right after that. And I was kind of like, okay, maybe, but then I was like, man, this needs to be investigated. Like,
I mean,
let's shed light on it.
Even how you said when you said the prayer. Said she wants to see Bigfoot.
She said it.
People don't realize how big. I didn't even know that part of the story, but people don't realize how big intentions are.
Yes.
When you put an intention out there, that's the same way that the CE5 protocol works because it works. Every thought goes through space and time and quantum entanglement, and that's how the extraterrestrial spaceships work is through a thought. Because a thought is quicker than the speed of light. It's instant. So you can travel when you have your mind hooked up to the spaceship. You can travel instantly through a thought. So just putting out that intention.
And what got me going was like, it was the person with me. They were non-biased. Didn't even think a Sasquatch could be possible. They're like, okay, maybe, I don't know what it is, but they're just saying that. They were unbiased and they called it out jokingly. And all of a sudden, it was taken seriously after the encounter. And then I'm like, wait, we have to acknowledge this. Let's try to put this into perspective here. If they're psychic, let's learn about it. Who are these authors who are saying they've seen them, communicated with them, or mapped out their culture? Because there's people who said, of course, they got a language. They have food. Like you said, they could eat. You have a list of the diet. Say their diet.
They would eat small animals. They would eat fish. They would eat rodents. They would eat rodents. They would eat marmots. They would eat even like bunnies and stuff. I mean, they would eat anything that wasn't carnivorous.
Apparently, a lot of fruit.
So they would eat other animals, but they wouldn't eat a carnivorous animal.
Fruits and everything.
Just herbivores.
And I love mentioning back to my source like in ESETI because they say that.
Yeah, I mean, you've been there. That's why we have you on. I mean, you're essentially an expert on this.
It was just really interesting because, like, they were saying, like, the guy, the owner of the property said, they every now and then they like to stack rocks for fun. I seen the stack rocks. I'm like, okay, maybe a person could have did that, but I seen the stack rocks. And it could have been Sasquatch. Also,
I mean, were they big rocks or?
What they could be like just big rocks that people say they said they could see them stacked in the wild or on their property.
But also, I mean, were they rocks that like a human couldn't pick up, or?
There could have been something a human could have picked up. Sometimes some of them could have been a little bit larger.
Okay.
But what's also interesting is that people are saying that they're on the properties of farms, they're braiding the horse's hair or they're braiding the llama's hair. And there's photos that
Sasquatch.
Yes, they're saying that's a common.
Well, let me see this photo.
Yeah, they're saying that they're braiding the hair. So
they just wake up and like their animal's hair is braided.
Yeah, so they're taking photos of the braided horse's hair, and they're saying the owners of these farms are saying, "I didn't do this. This is my horse Nelly or whatever." Yeah. She didn't. I don't even know how to braid.
Footprints of Bigfoot.
Do they have
I'm sorry, Sasquatch.
Yeah,
I gotta stop saying that.
Is there like an estimate of how many are on Earth?
I mean, So whenever they've mapped it out, so geographically they try to stay more westward in the U.S., but they're all around the world. Globally, they're on every continent apparently.
There's some pictures in here.
Have you ever heard of the hobbit creatures in Indonesia, like the short little people that people say they see?
Yeah. I've actually did hear that.
That's probably a form of them too. Like there's a short hobbit creature.
That's small foot. That's small foot.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it, small foot or whatever.
I'm joking,
yeah.
I'm joking.
You know, and then in the Himalayas, there's Yeti.
Right.
There's I know there's other countries, but I don't know what they're considered to be called in other countries. But like, I mean, it's just an interesting phenomenon. So but also they've done structures of like going to the forest. People say that they see the stacks of sticks in different configurations where they're building these almost like nests, and these have been documented and pictured. I think there's also pictures of that in the book too. So this guy is not just an experiencer in this book. Kiwani Lapsaritis is like I said, almost like he's like a double or triple PhD researcher, certified anthropologist. He was a professor. He's traveled the world and studied abroad, but basically he's not just some guy, and he's in some garage somewhere writing these books. No, he's really out. He's been out in the field. He's been out in the field. So I really was drawn to them. Yeah, those are, you found it. Yeah. So you found it.
I don't know if you could see this. I don't know if the camera's going to focus.
I saw that when I was in Washington State. So I think the owner of the property in Washington also said when he leaves some food out,
there's a note to Bigfoot in here too.
They'll take the food and stuff like that. They'll sometimes shake up cars, and he said they have a sense of humor. He said the juveniles really, really are goofy. They love to laugh. They have a sense of humor, and they like to kind of poke up. And those are the ones who are probably kind of like popping up on people. He said the juveniles like to have fun.
Oh,
that's how they describe it. They're like people. Like picture like our teenagers.
How long do they live?
It actually shows 2-foot beings in here as well. I don't know if you can see that.
I'll explain what my sources say. What do your sources say about that? About the lifespan?
How long they live?
I don't remember necessarily how long, or if she even said that. But I'd have to touch up on it.
Like he was saying, I mentioned like they're a people. So I guess, consider they have a natural diet. What I've learned is that they do live like long lives. They could live like well over 100.
Yeah.
I think some of them up to 200. Anything past that, I'm sure that is true. But I do remember, I can recall off the top of my head that he was saying they've reached well over 100 years old, and he said that he's had Sasquatch friends or an ancient one friend that would pass away. Let's get on this topic because he actually almost had a love interest with one.
Whoa!
Let's talk about that. No,
wait. He loved the Sasquatch.
Yes, I swear.
Hold on.
Whoa.
This is the guy.
So wait, hold on, man. Hey, 911.
Hold on.
Yeah, so listen to what happened, right? This is really interesting stuff, man. He said, as a researcher, he's kind of like lived with them. He got to know them. He said there was a beautiful, beautiful one. I think it was more like the ancient one.
Hey, okay.
Right? Beautiful looking Sasquatch being. Of course, it had hair, but then he said the face is nice. He looked just like our woman here.
Maybe I don't know, just like ours.
Like a hairy body, like.
Yeah, so he said she came on to him. She wanted to kind of like, talk to him. I think at one point he said, he even quoted by, quote by quote, he said she wanted to even make love, and then.
So she initiated
it, yeah. And this
I don't think you can turn that down, guys. I don't know if you can turn that down, man.
But this is documented, man. So.
But is this like bestiology?
And this is a human.
Bestiality.
Apparently, this is another human.
Let's not be rude.
But the thing is, he said after his divorce, he was a little bit wasn't really into it. He kind of wanted a little bit of distance, so he turned it down. And he actually jokingly said, "I think I regret that because in the name of research, I think I should have did that." He said that in his book, and I laughed so hard about that. He said I should have did it out of the name of research.
Man.
Oh.
And he's a funny guy, and also like you gotta laugh at this stuff because like they're people. They're apparently they're a race of people out there. We don't come in contact with them. But he said that it would have worked out physically. All the parts are the same,
So Bigfoot almost let him hit, man.
Huh?
That's crazy.
So, but here's
that's crazy.
Speaking of that, I don't want to quote her too much.
He has some riz, man.
Yeah, and Sue Walker, I remember she knows a lot about them too. But like one person who was hosting her on the show, there's a one guy when he said, "Well, I always wonder, like, is it big down there?" So
what?
It was a funny podcast.
Yo.
And it was just like, she just like, what
I've never heard of someone sexualizing Bigfoot till now.
Seriously.
That wasn't even something that was in my mind.
Thought about it. Well, except for that,
crazy.
the Nelk boy.
Why not uncover it all? Yeah. Why not uncover it all?
The Nelk did a prank video.
And it's funny because the Sea Walker, but it makes sense because, gorillas, sexually reproductive wise, they're not all that huge. People think, considering like, oh, they're big gorillas, they're not like big down there, which I don't understand that, but
I guess like
she said for Sasquatch.
I mean, but who knows that though? How would they know?
Yeah,
that? I think she said for Sasquatch it's the same. She said that would actually be small. I never forget. I remember she said that. I'm pretty sure she said like
I mean, maybe small in relation to their body if they're 20 feet tall. You know what I mean?
But think about it, like a gorilla, like. Compared to, I think we compare to a human.
I mean,
I don't know if a human would want to go toe to toe with Sasquatch.
Yeah.
In that realm, that's all I'm saying.
I mean, they said their feet are proportional to their body, so I can only imagine that everything else is.
It's just funny because, like, I think gorillas are reproductive wise are very considerably smaller than the average male human.
Yeah.
It's but yeah, I mean,
but gorillas aren't as tall. I mean, if we're talking at 20
feet tall,
yeah.
Well, yeah, these beings are like
that's
these beings have been documented as like 10 feet tall, 15 feet tall, and I think up to 20. So
I mean, are they talking about? Did he say if the gorilla was? I mean, the Sasquatch was thick or anything?
I don't know about all of that. I don't know about size of the gorilla that was
possible BBL. I mean, what are you talking about?
I wonder
how far did he go? How far did he get into this thing?
But he talked about he almost had the love interest, and he said if I would have did that, it would have changed everything.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, let's be real. If this is a true story, he did it, man.
He did.
Hey, maybe he did that.
About it.
He did something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I need to see how these kinds look because, like, I don't know. I guess have this like
you saw the Bigfoot
idea in my
dancer,
head.
The Bigfoot dancer girl.
Is that how she looked?
Well, okay, so he described
that's it.
Because that's like what I imagine in my head, like this kind of.
He's saying she was beautiful because remember how
that's bad.
So there's Sasquatch, there's different races. There's ancient ones that look basically more like humans, but with a little bit less hair on the face. So he said, I believe.
I gotta look up the ancient.
Yeah,
the ancient ones.
I believe he was saying this was like ancient one, and he said she was strikingly physically beautiful, and she came on to him. Those are his exact words. And he said this in numerous. He speaks around the world, but he would say this in a few different conferences, and he actually put it in a book, I believe. And he makes light of it and said, "I should have did it." I mean, Keon, he's been researching like for over 50 years. I think he's an old guy now. He's like he has to be pushing 70 now, 70 maybe plus.
The ancient one, Sasquatch.
That's what I'm saying. Now we're gonna cover all topics. It's just you won't believe how much research there is in this.
I've never heard of that. We're getting there. These don't look too human to me. Yeah, but the images, but I don't know what he saw.
Wait, is that look? There's a female because she has boobs.
Yeah, that's the Yeti.
On the right.
There's different races though. There's different kinds. So that's a Yeti.
She has boobs.
Yeah, that's the Patterson footage.
Okay.
You can see the nipplet and everything.
Yeah, that's obviously a female.
See the milk.
He just saw that and he said, "All right, maybe I'll try it."
Apparently, he just said you maybe need a little bit of shaving, and then you're okay. I don't know.
All right, that's man.
Okay, all right. Look up this or Sue Walker. She's the one. She said she actually.
Can you look that up for me?
She said she actually draws them. She said
I actually want to read this letter.
Yeah.
Bigfoot.
Oh, okay.
It says and like you said, they probably have a 10th grade level or something.
Yeah.
Let's just say like
maybe a level
not 10th grade. I mean, let's say like 5-year-old,
10-year-old or 5-year-old, right?
Yeah, let's say like 5-year-old.
So he scanned this, and this is supposed to be the actual thing that they wrote to him. But let me clarify. I think he said that only the ancient ones could write the Sasquatch. The more Sasquatch ones really aren't literate, but the more humanoid.
Put that picture under.
Yeah, so
they're holding the dude. But this says, "You world not same as our world. You time not same over time. You space not same our time." It said "our," not "over." Sorry. Mm-hmm. "A thin cloth hang between those places that open and shut. There is no I or me. We are all one. Each one is part of the whole.
Oh,
what one does, all do. You may see us as brothers. What does it say?
So you may see us as Brother Crow.
Oh, you might see us as Brother Crow.
Oh, there's no E at the end of
or
Sue.
Brother Wolf.
It's just SU. Hey, just
What?
Yeah, there's no E at the end of Sue. It's just SU.
Oh.
That's why I think you're not funny. I gotta get a card. So now, yeah. So get back to the text, what you were saying with the writing.
So he says, "There's no I or me. We are all one. Each one is part of the whole. What one does, all do. You may see us as Brother Crow or Brother Wolf. Listen to the stones. Speak to the trees." So I mean, that's pretty interesting. Man.
And like I was saying, he was saying only the ancient ones could write, like basically the more humanoids, and the Sasquatch are probably not as literate. I believe that's what he was saying in the book. So the ancient one was writing. But yeah, I mean, it gets deep. It feels like they always had this profound deep story. Right? Yeah.
Let me see that one.
But this artist, Sue Walker, she actually claims to actually draw them. She said Sasquatch directed her to draw. She said they told her draw us as we see ourselves, not as society sees us. Draw us as just in a natural state, relaxed. Draw us as being. But I mean, this research gets deep, and if you think about it, like just to get your toes in it, I know it can kind of be like really strange, but if you look at the consistency and see like these people is actually like they're going through something, they're experiencing it, they're spending time and researching it, and
okay,
right.
You gotta think about
this one says there's another note. It says, "Some say men want to kill us. We are people, not Elohim, not Nephilim, not evil spirit."
You know those words.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We are first people, seed of Adam, not of Cain. Learn good the old ways. Time is short. Soon come last war. We all will be safe in woods. Says in 2004, the ancient one named Haloti left me the following note.
So the ancient one.
That's like you said, Haloti. So you think you got maybe some kind of nudes or something from me?
Yeah. Hey, look, I don't know, but have you ever looked at a book like that where somebody's saying they're writing down things to me? I'm seeing them. It's like this is not what you see on the History Channel. Yeah. Like you're not seeing like, okay, they're communicating to us. They're just beings being hunted as, on a natural. On a program that you watch on TV. It's like, oh, we're gonna find.
I'm not gonna lie though. If I wanted to make up some stuff, that I would probably do something like that. I'm just being real. You know what I mean?
So you would fabricate something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I would. I'm saying if I was going to, like, if
you would waste tons of money and time to build and fabricate
to gain more money.
Well,
by selling this book, by telling people one came on to me, man.
How did you find the book?
That's what
I'm not saying it's not real. I'm just giving the double,
A skeptic could really a skeptic could say that. No, it's true. I mean, okay. So how I found the book is, when I would just go within, I would always try to just seek truth, and I was it was always presented to me almost as if it would jump off. I know they say like jump off the page of the book, or jump off the page of the computer in an article. But this author came and jumped out to me. I'm like, this information is like it's resonating. Like what something about it, like how he explains it. And that's when I know like the source is right, and then I'll be like, okay, I'll share it to you. And we get a second or third opinion, and then if I know it's like it's right, and we're on the right high frequency, it's like okay, this is it. So he this author came to me, and I was studying anthropology as an undergrad, so I'm like, hey, he's an anthropologist, he's a researcher, and let me think about what it's like to be your anthropologist in real life, like if I graduate. But I never really kind of went down that right as a full anthropologist and with the university and then finished to get the degree in that. But it was just like, I'm like, okay, let me look into him. What's funny about this book is I had to order like 2 other ones. It just mysteriously, they kept on missing. It was weird. I guess they kept missing. It was weird. The first one, I think it was ordered, somehow another person got it.
Oh, wow.
And it was ordered to a whole nother house.
I mean, sometimes it's not the right timing, too.
Yeah, it was weird.
So things will come in perfect timing.
And the second one, it was in the house, and I put it down, and nobody else moved it. And I think it was just my dad coming in at the time, and he said he didn't see the book. And I'm like, where could it have gone? I put it right on the shelf, and I'm like, how could a book like that just go missing like that? It was just weird. So the third time, this is my third book, like I said, and then now I really have it, but I'm sharing it with more people, and I'm using it, I think, in like the best way.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, I like it, man. I like that.
But you know, like I said, there's a skeptic could really say a lot about it. Like a lot of, like, you know, you can say this is all fabricated. Like people have a lot of time on their hands so they can write it. But like, but you gotta look at like, okay, like what do I know? Like, do we even know all the species on this planet? Do we know what's underneath our oceans? We really don't. They barely mapped our oceans.
Yeah, I like to keep an open mind with everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just not super attuned to the Sasquatch world because I'm more in tune with the, you know, extraterrestrials and aliens and all that. That's just what I like and in tune with.
Somehow it's all connected.
Yeah, it's
like,
definitely connected, but I believe they're out there somewhere.
Whatever calls you.
But okay, let me be honest though. Okay, I'll share. When I was learning the information, I would laugh hysterically. I would laugh and I would laugh.
I mean, it is a little goofy.
Well, yeah, and I would really laugh. I would look at the videos even from this author, and I'm like, when they would say the word, it just something made it tickle me, and I would just laugh, and I was laughing so much. But at
Sasquatch.
And I was at a certain point, I was like, you know, I was looking into the research, and I said, let me order the book. When I was reading it, and I'm like, wait, like, okay, they have all this energy and money to spend it on making this book. Like I don't think they're fabricating this. And you know, my first reaction was it tickled me a little bit, but I kept saying,
I mean, it is a lot of time and a lot of research. You can tell he is passionate about it.
Really
I don't know what his motives are. I mean, after hearing that other stuff,
you know,
235 plus pages. I mean,
He's a little too into it.
Yeah, he might need to check on him.
And he's
check
really,
his browser history.
He's really a professor. He's taught at universities. He's really a scholar. And I'm like, you know, I'm like, let me look into it because the natural reaction could be laughter. And I'll never forget. I'll quote James Gillian on this. When I asked him, I said, sometimes when I think about higher beings or interdimensional beings, or if I would even try to even think about contacting them, it tickles me. It makes me laugh. And he kept telling me, he said that, you know, when you do that, that's kind of what you need to be in, that state of laughter to get you to laugh sometimes.
Yeah, you're right. That's high vibrational.
So he laughed, you know, and after that we laughed, you know, but I
mean, that's beautiful, man. I feel like I know a lot more about Sasquatch and now that, you know,